Welcome to Kelly Paper and Spicer's Paper online training. My name is David Mount. The title of this presentation is A Guide to FSC and SFI Chain of Custody. Our objectives for our brief time together are to introduce you to the FSC and SFI, to answer the question, what is chain of custody certification? And finally, to establish internal handling procedures. We'll start with the FSC. FSC stands for Forest Stewardship Council. The FSC is responsible for chain of custody certification. The FSC is an international nonprofit organization founded in 1993 as a voluntary and market-based mechanism for ensuring that the world's forests are managed in an environmentally responsible, socially acceptable, and economically viable manner. Under FSC certification, forestry companies are independently audited to meet the FSC's strict forest management standards. Beyond the forest, all producers along the supply chain must be chain of custody certified. At every stage of manufacturing or distribution, the fiber going into a product is tracked and identified. The FSC system not only makes certain that wood fiber used in a product is from a sustainable source, but it also ensures that claims regarding the recycled content of products is verifiable. In an unbroken chain of commitment from forest to consumer, the FSC label carries the promise that a product comes from a forest-friendly source. Of course, not all wood and paper products are FSC certified. Let's take a brief look at a few possible controversial sources. The FSC will never certify products that come from illegal logging, rainforest endangered regions, sources that violate human rights, or lumber plantations. Forest management, according to FSC's internationally recognized standards, delivers environmental services to local and global communities, including clean air and water, and contributes to mitigating impacts of climate change. The FSC also directly or indirectly addresses issues such as illegal logging, deforestation, and global warming, and has positive impacts on economic development, environmental conservation, poverty alleviation, and social and political empowerment. FSC mix products are made with a combination of virgin and recycled fiber. Products with the FSC recycled label support the reuse of forest resources, which helps reduce further use of live forest resources. So what does all of this mean for our forests? FSC Forest Management Certification has many benefits that can be seen on the ground in the forests themselves. Here are a few examples. Waterways are protected. Wildlife habitat and species are protected. High conservation value forests are preserved. Forest management practices are monitored annually. Genetically modified trees are not used. Local people are involved in forest management, and the rights of indigenous peoples are respected. Now it's time to answer the question, what is chain of custody certification? Chain of custody certification applies to all members in the supply chain for an FSC certified wood or paper product. FSC certified fiber is tracked through the entire supply chain, from forest to pulp mill to manufacturer to distributor and finally to the printer. This guarantees that when a printed brochure, annual report, or catalog carries the FSC product label, it has come from a responsibly managed forest and can be traced back to that same FSC certified forest from which it came. So what does chain of custody certification mean for Kelly paper and Spicer's paper? Chain of custody certification for a print operation targets 5 main areas of operation: purchasing and receiving, production, records and summaries, personnel and training, and product labeling. FSC certified printers must procure FSC certified papers from an FSC certified paper merchant, distributor, or manufacturer. Chain of custody certification will also require production of FSC jobs to be tracked and separate from non-FSC jobs. Records must be kept for measuring what FSC inputs are coming in, being used, and going out. Personnel must understand how these processes work and what is required for FSC jobs. Certified printers are also responsible for applying the product label to printed materials for their clients. In addition, all personnel must be trained and training records kept for 5 years. The FSC label. There are 3 FSC product label categories. The 100% label category applies to papers manufactured with 100% FSC certified wood fiber from FSC certified forests. The mix label applies to papers with a combination of FSC certified wood fiber, recycled content, and controlled sources. The recycled label applies to papers manufactured with post-consumer recycled waste. As a part of their COC certification, paper manufacturers are audited to ensure that their recycled content comes from a true post-consumer source. Now let's shift our attention to the SFI. SFI stands for Sustainable Forestry Initiative. Sustainable Forestry Initiative Incorporated is a fully independent, charitable organization that manages one of the largest, most widely accepted certification programs in the world. There are 3 SFI certification standards: forest management, chain of custody, and fiber sourcing. All require third-party audits to maintain an internationally recognized and trusted standard of practice. The SFI program stands apart from other certification programs by addressing the fact that 90% of the world's forests are not certified to a credible standard. Through SFI fiber sourcing certification, providers who use certified fiber can assure customers it's from legal, responsible sources and not from sensitive areas as defined by Conservation International. It also demonstrates they are promoting sustainable forest management in North America through training, education, and research requirements. Just as with FSC, there are products that cannot be SFI certified. Let's take a moment to look at some of these controversial sources. The SFI will not certify products from these sources: rainforest endangered regions or illegal logging operations. Here are the SFI labels: SFI 100% certified, SFI recovered, SFI certified with other, SFI other not certified, and finally SFI supplier. So what's the difference? The FSC and SFI are very similar organizations certifying wood products and related manufacturing processes. The FSC has an outward focus to give buyers and consumers a higher confidence level. The SFI has an inward focus to help members improve forestry and manufacturing practices. The FSC does not certify wood products made from plantation harvested trees, while the SFI does. Generally, The FSC is much stricter in the certification process and therefore considered a greener certification. Spicer's paper and Kelly paper internal procedures for FSC and SFI. The purpose of this procedure is to document the steps necessary for Kelly paper and Spicer's paper to verify that paper being sold as FSC or SFI certified meets the chain of custody requirements as outlined by Smartwood and PricewaterhouseCoopers. Purchasing. At Spicer's paper and Kelly paper, the purchasing function is the responsibility of customer service reps or CSRs, buyers, and merchandisers. When a customer places an order with Spicer's paper or Kelly paper and specifies they need a FSC or SFI product, the CSR, buyer, or merchandiser will enter the order into the system using the item code that has been set up with the appropriate FSC or SFI product description. The buyer will specifically ask the question as to the FSC or SFI category being used. If an item code does not already exist for this product, a new item code will be created with the proper FSC or SFI product description. After the order is entered into the Spicer's paper or Kelly paper system, the CSR, buyer, or merchandiser will verify that the customer order acknowledgement and the purchase order to the supplier each have the item with the proper FSC and SFI description on them. The CSR, buyer, or merchandiser will also confirm which FSC or SFI label category the end user is ordering. If the order is placed with the mill verbally, the CSR, buyer, or merchandiser will specify that their order calls for FSC or SFI certified products. The CSR, buyer, or merchandiser will request a mill confirmation once the order is placed. Upon receiving the confirmation, they will review the mill order confirmation to verify that the product description is for FSC or SFI certified product. If it is not, the CSR, buyer, or merchandiser will contact the mill to have the order revised and a new order confirmation requested. Sales and shipping. For orders that have FSC or SFI items on them, when the mill invoice is received by Spicer's paper or Kelly paper, the billing clerk will review the item description to be sure the paper shipped was an FSC or SFI certified item, and also confirm that the mill FSC or SFI certification code and category of mixed fiber percentage is noted. If the mill invoice does not reference the FSC or SFI certified item, then the billing clerk will bring this to the attention of the appropriate CSR, buyer, or merchandiser, who will then contact the mill to get clarification on what item was actually shipped. If an FSC or SFI item was shipped, a revised invoice will be requested to reflect the proper item. The Spicer's paper or Kelly paper invoice to the customer will have the FSC or SFI product description on it, as well as the Spicer's paper or Kelly paper FSC certification code. The warehouse, receiving. All warehouse personnel will look for FSC or SFI labels on products and verify that shipping documents include the supplier's FSC or SFI number and category of origin. Notification on products received without the appropriate information will immediately be given to the branch FSC or SFI coordinator. Stock put away. FSC or SFI paper will be stored in a separate bin location away from non-certified items. Cutting. All cutting is job specific, and for those locations that provide this service, the process is as follows. Information for cutting is provided on a document from customer service or purchasing. Cutting is performed as instructed and all records of cutting are kept for 5 years. Record keeping. Procedures for maintaining records pertaining to certification. All records covering certified product, including production, public information, certified material purchase, and certified product sales, will be kept on record either electronically or in hard copy form for a period of 5 years. Procedures for compiling annual audit data for auditors. Prior to the annual audit, a summary will be prepared showing certified material purchases, inventory, and sales, as well as a listing of public information and advertising. Spicer's Paper and Kelly Paper acknowledge that auditors will review orders with their respective suppliers, suppliers' paperwork to Spicer's Paper or Kelly Paper, customer purchase orders, customer invoices, and logo approval requests. Training. Training procedures. All Spicer's Paper and Kelly Paper employees will be trained using the Spicer's Paper and Kelly Paper online training system as required when certification changes occur. At a minimum, training will be conducted at least once per year, and in addition to covering any new material, a review of the basic control procedures for orders with certified items will also take place. Copies of the FSC and SFI standards will also be given to each location. Training records. Written documentation will be maintained for all training that will be conducted. This documentation will be held for auditor review. Records of all training will be kept for 5 years. Label and logo use. Spicer's Paper and Kelly Paper marketing will go through the liaison for the certification body and must approve all use of FSC and SFI logos. Spicer's Paper and Kelly Paper marketing will send requests to FSC and SFI for approval. Copies of approval will be attached to sample of printed piece and will be made available upon request. In addition, the following actions will be taken and coordinated by the corporate office. We will keep our FSC and SFI product guide up to date and make it available upon request. Quarterly verify the status of our mill suppliers using the FSC and SFI websites. Hold annual internal audits with each Spicer's Paper and Kelly Paper location. And keep all FSC and SFI records for 5 years. Cutting. Spicer's Paper and Kelly Paper, as an accommodation to our customers, the company will on occasion cut sold product from a larger sheet size to smaller sheet sizes. Not every Spicer's Paper or Kelly Paper location have a cutter, and the few that do use our cutters primarily for sample requests. Sheeting and converting. For each order, the operator is responsible for filling out the sheeter worksheet. This form tracks all details on the specifications of the job and tracks the production of the order by the specific roll identification number, including sheets produced for each pallet number, weight, and lineal footage. It also tracks the waste for each order and the total sheet count and weight of the job. This form is then combined with the original order copy and the mill's labels from each roll, which are then inserted into a job jacket. Copies are sent both to the customer during delivery and to the warehouse office to be kept on file. Special note: all parties should understand that FSC and SFI are not interchangeable. For example, if an FSC item is ordered by a customer, an FSC certified item must be shipped. Otherwise, the chain of custody will be broken. It is not sufficient to ship an item that is certified by one group in place of an item that is certified by a different group. Final note: the procedural content of this presentation is covered in detail in the FSC SFI PEFC Certification Documented Control System.